Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. I'm your host, Susan Johnson. Today, we're analyzing the article Lucid Air versus Porsche Taycan, Guess Who Wins, written by Curt Robbins and published on LinkedIn on January 14, 2026.
The article establishes a very clear thesis right from the start. It argues that if you look past the branding and focus on what most drivers actually need in their daily lives, things like practicality, comfort, and value, the Lucid Air emerges as the clear winner. So, to begin, let's set the stage for this comparison. It's important to understand that both the Lucid Air and the Porsche Taycan are truly incredible feats of engineering. Each of these vehicles has seriously shaken up the luxury EV market.
Okay, let's dive into the analysis, starting with what is arguably the most critical metric for any EV owner: range. According to the article, this is where a huge difference between the two cars becomes immediately obvious.
For some context, the average range for an electric vehicle sold in the US is just 283 miles. And, as the article points out, that number often drops significantly in very hot or very cold weather, which is a major weakness of current battery technology. And this chart really illustrates the core of the argument. The Lucid Air's range is quite similar to a gas-powered car, which for many drivers basically eliminates range anxiety. The Taycan's range is decent, but being over 100 miles shorter makes a huge practical difference, especially on a road trip. Next up, we have real-world usability. It's not just about how far you can go, but how comfortable and practical the journey is. Here we're looking at interior space and cargo capacity, which really reveals two very different design philosophies.
The Porsche feels exactly like a sports car inside. It has a snug, driver-focused cockpit. Lucid, on the other hand, uses its unique Leap platform, which is specifically designed to shrink the size of the motors and batteries. This smart engineering is what frees up so much cabin and cargo space, making the Air a far more practical vehicle for families or just for running daily errands.
Of course, for many buyers in this price range, performance is everything. But in this particular category, the article finds that the two cars are, perhaps surprisingly, very well matched. What's really interesting here is just how close they are. When you compare the base models, their 0 to 60 time is identical. Now yes, there are slight differences in horsepower and top speed, but for everyday driving scenarios, the article calls this a statistical tie. Now we get to what might be the single biggest deciding factor for many buyers: the price tag and the overall value you get for your money.
The Lucid Air Pure, which is the entry-level model, has a starting price of approximately $70,000. For that, the buyer receives that industry-leading range and a spacious, well-appointed luxury interior.
The base model Porsche Taycan, however, starts at around $106,000. And that's before you start adding from Porsche's famously long and expensive options list for features that are often standard on other luxury cars.
So, the crucial point is this: the Taycan carries a minimum premium of $35,000. According to the article, this figure grows substantially when the vehicle is equipped to match the standard features and the range of the Lucid Air.
And finally, the analysis looks at a metric that is increasingly becoming the new benchmark for luxury in the EV space: efficiency.
The Lucid Air is cited as the most aerodynamic luxury car on the market, and it achieves a remarkable efficiency of roughly 5 miles per kilowatt-hour. This superior efficiency translates directly into tangible benefits: less time spent at the charger and lower long-term energy costs.
So in the end, the article concludes that this choice comes down to two different philosophies. The Taycan is positioned as an emotional purchase, driven by Porsche's incredible brand legacy and its track-focused performance. The Lucid Air, on the other hand, is framed as the rational choice, engineered specifically to solve the real-world problems of owning an EV.
This leaves us with a pretty big question. As the automotive world goes electric, what truly defines luxury? Is it the power of a historic brand, or is it the promise of data-driven, practical innovation?
Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. We encourage you to subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel, and please like, comment, and share to help us reach a wider audience.